poser. And welcome, everybody, to another wonderful Saturday edition of the Canuckleheads. How's everyone out there doing today? We have ourselves a special guest on the show.
I'm doing okay.
You're doing okay?
Yes.
There you go.
You
You're
sure
doing
about
great,
that?
too.
You sure about that?
Yes. Yes.
We have ourselves a special guest on the show, the
do.
wonderful person behind the brand new comic Galden.
Oh,
Phoenix Animation,
that's cool. Hello.
aka
Hello.
Brandon Flynn, hashtag doxed.
There you go. We have the power of the hashtag. Your life has
Exactly.
forever been changed.
Exactly.
That's it. That's it.
So
There we
we wanted to have Brandon on the show to talk about the couple new projects that you have going on, as well as I heard rumors about an animation studio that you want to start up as well.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start
Great.
off. Let's start off by telling the folks a little bit about yourself, there, Phoenix.
All right. Well, as I have been properly doxxed, my name is Brandon Flynn, and
There you
I
go.
am-
You accepted the hashtag.
There we go. There we go. I doxed myself.
There it is.
I took the power back.
Perfect.
You can't dox me if I dox
Run
myself.
with it, young
Actually, I can't dox
son.
you.
Run with it.
So, anyways, so yes, I guess origin backstory. For a long time, I've been into anime and comics and stuff like that. And
I'm shocked.
right? So why would I be here, right?
Exactly.
Someone
Someone else in the anime and manga. I'm shocked.
Incredible.
There's
Exactly.
yeah, can you believe it? Like there's nothing giving it away behind me.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And obviously you don't shop local.
No.
So exactly.
Well, actually, I create
kidding.
those. The
Oh.
metal art stuff behind me. So if
Yeah.
if Kitchener Comic Con does actually go down, and I can
Yeah.
be a vendor up there, that's definitely what I'll be selling.
That would be super awesome.
Selling some heavy metal. That's awesome.
Heavy metal. Yep.
That rocks. Crossing the border. Everything to be clear. Just 16 metric tons of plates.
Metal.
What?
Well, we do have a lot to talk about today because there's
We
a lot of interesting stuff that's been going on.
Mhm.
So just like a bit of a preview for folks that are just trickling into the stream today. We're going to be talking about the projects that you have going on right now. We're also going to be talking about kind of the trials and tribulations and stuff like that about putting together these Indiegogo campaigns. We'll flash your campaign up here. I think you got some pretty interesting stuff as a part
thank
of
you.
your campaign as well. And we're going to talk a little bit about the anime stuff in general. And we have some very hot button topics I'd like to get your opinion on.
Okay. I have an
We'll
opinion.
save that for a little bit later in the show.
I have an
grant
opinion,
you
and I will give it to you.
Exactly. We will grant your opinion in our broadcast today.
Yeah.
Very much
Yes.
appreciated, Mr.
Yeah.
Hop.
So,
You're quite welcome, Phoenix.
So Phoenix Animation, not like unlike our
I know.
our supreme Canucklehead Phoenix Orum, who is
That's right.
mysteriously absent from the chat today.
Well, he's
Shake
in
my
the
fist.
he's in the Phoenix nest today.
He's
Right.
in the
He's in-
He heard Phoenix was going to be on the show, and he's still waiting in the queue.
exactly.
So
But we'll just shill some stuff really quickly. If you're interested in supporting the show and being a part of a show, we also have our Patreon linked below. You can join the Discord for $5 a month, which is super chill, super relaxed. Or you could join the show for the top tier, and you can be a part of the show every single week if you want to. So check out the link for the Patreon. I've also included the links for the Indiegogos for Phoenix Animation stuff, of which I'm
okay.
going to share the screen here in just a second.
Okay.
I should have had this queued up a minute ago. Here we go.
There
Look
we
at
go.
that. Look at
Look
that
at that.
sexy comic book. Look at that.
there we go.
This is a really awesome campaign. One of the things that I took advantage of on this one, because you have the tiers here, right? You have the digital copy for
Mhm.
$10. That's a steal, honestly. It's $10 US. You get the physical book for $20 US. You can also become a character in the story. Want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So a little bit different from traditional Indiegogo campaigns. A lot of places offer the become a character thing, and you basically come in and you kind of get killed off like right away, or kind of make a little cameo appearance.
Just ask Nick.
And, yeah,
I'm a character. Thanks for coming out, kid.
That's right. A little bit different from that. With this story, you actually get to become kind of like a co-main character, secondary character, and you'll be around for the long term.
That's awesome.
So I guess basically what this story is, if it's kind of easier to explain if we go through the story.
Absolutely.
It's been with my story. Demons have ruled the earth for 1,000 years. Humanity's on the brink of extinction. They're living in caves.
I was thinking that is kind of funny. Demons have been around for 1,000 years. Okay, that's a bad day. And
So
humans are on point of extinction.
So the year is 2020.
Years. Wow.
Yeah. Oh no. You'll find out. We're in about. I think we'll be about, what is it, 3020? So it'll be 1,000 years after the rise of the demons.
Pandemic is still around after all that time. My goodness gracious.
Yeah.
We're burning stuff out by now, for goodness sakes.
So humanity's living off of limited resources in cave systems, and we follow our main character Galden, whose parents were killed by demons that attacked their civilization.
Okay.
And so he's pretty angry. He's down for revenge.
Yeah. There's no therapy sessions, so
no, not enough. Yeah, exactly. Robot Ken Jennings isn't there to figure things out.
Hold his hand.
I mean, or is he? If he's a robot,
he could be.
He could theoretically,
or he got into biotechnology and he's just this giant potato grapevine that expands from one coast to coast type of thing.
He's just an undermined.
Exactly.
He's just a giant potato network under the ground.
That's right. Listening, putting his ears to everything.
Or he was like a C-3PO kind of robot that they decided to dismantle and use for something useful, like a toaster.
That'd be funny.
Or is it floating?
That would be funny.
Oh, Ken Jennings, please be a character. So
Ken Jennings is a floating head with a nice tie. There we go.
There we go. Shout out to Ken Jennings. Much love, buddy. All in jest. So, anyways, what happens is our main character, Galden, and his best friend wake up and they find themselves in a cell with 23 other people, and they have no idea what's going on or why they're there.
Okay.
This creature comes to them and tells them basically everything that's going on. So basically, in the world that I'm creating, millennia and millennia ago, humans and demons used to coexist on Earth.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's weird.
And the king of Atlantis decided he wanted to be greedy and had his scientists come up with a way to transport all the demons to another dimension so that he could be the sole ruler of Earth.
Wow, those are easy goals.
Right.
Life goals. It's important to have, with a combination of science and Atlantis. Nothing could go wrong with that. Absolutely.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
No.
Well,
nothing. Demons as well. There's no correlations. None.
That's right. So the 13 celestial beings that created and oversee the universe came down and said, hey, this isn't how we designed this planet. Bring them back. And the king of Atlantis is like, well, we have our technology. We don't need them and we don't need you. So these celestial beings are like, oh, really? Okay, well, we'll put you to the test.
Oh, really?
We'll see how you do without your technology. So they decided to create a tournament. 25 of humanity's best versus 25 of the demon race's best. Fight to the death.
Yeah. This is a simple Mortal Kombat tear.
Similar. Yeah. So the winner rules the earth for 1,000 years, and then 1,000 years they do it again. So during that fight, that tournament, the Atlanteans lost, which is why we have the lost city of Atlantis. It was actually destroyed when the demons took over.
I'm shocked.
Humanity won the next tournament, and civilization moved back on. And we actually talk about how the Romans and the gladiator games and some different things from like Asia, heritage and stuff were actually traditions that they created based on training and stuff like that for this tournament that's held every millennia.
Yeah.
And during the Dark Ages, when humanity lost like 90% of the knowledge of this tournament was lost. So when the 2020 tournament went down, we ended up losing hard.
Oh, that's
right, right. Right. So now we follow these characters as they learn about this and as they fight in this tournament to basically reclaim the Earth and save humanity from extinction.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about this Become a Character perk is you get to be one of the characters fighting in this tournament.
Oh,
That's so cool.
So it's not just like a little one-frame cameo. You actually are a character. You have a backstory. You have a story going throughout this. The actual storyline for this book, the amount of books for the storyline is going to be about 7 books, maybe 8. I'm still working on a little bit of framing stuff. And so the characters will actually last through most or all of the storyline. So you'll see your character in multiple books.
That's very cool. So it's definitely like it's not just a one and done thing like some campaigns have been putting together. This is a long haul. Is there anything planned for like after when the books are finished?
Yeah. So I guess initially when I created this storyline and the storyline Reclaiming Zendara that I guess we'll see in a little bit, my original idea was to create an animation studio. When I came up with these storylines, I actually pitched them to Funimation a while back and was told that, right. Well, this is like, so Reclaiming Zendara I came up with 6 years ago, and Galden was 4 years ago. So it would have been about 3 that I pitched these to Funimation and was told that they don't take independent projects. And that's because they're a dubbing studio and not really an animation studio. So I was in my feels for a little bit. And I was like,
Sony itself has no animation studios under its umbrella.
Right, like none whatsoever.
Exactly.
Not a single one.
They've never heard of a crayon or drawing tablet or marker or pencil, nothing.
Yeah.
They just go in blind.
Spider-Verse, what's that? That just came off the computer somewhere.
There we go. And it's funny because the storyline for Reclaiming Zendara, when I came up with the story like 6 years ago, I had no idea. Like, I'd been doing conventions as a vendor, but I didn't really know who the voice actors, what they did and stuff. And I just remember I was coming up with it, and I told my best friend at the time, I was like, the best voice for this would be like an Edward Elric type of voice.
Oh,
lo and behold, it's our buddy Vic.
Oh yeah, that's right. He did that little pipsqueak, blonde hair,
exactly.
Back some time ago.
So like when I designed that story, it was like, oh, cool, that would be a great voice because it's going to have that like, he's going to have those tones of like, still being like a younger kid. And then also have those tones where he's more serious and he's a fighter and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool. And then it just ended up being that the situation happened with them. And so a lot of people, I became a part of I Stand with Vic, was out there, I contributed to GoFundMe, was following Nick's streams, like doing all that stuff.
I'm sorry.
And then a lot of late hours.
Nick's a lawyer, and lawyers are not nice people.
I met Nick in real life, and he was.
Have we met Nick before?
Nice.
Have we met Nick?
I don't know if we met Nick because the Nick that we met's a pretty nice guy. So
yeah, exactly,
right.
Exactly.
Definitely non-lawyer Vic or Nick.
They merged together after a while. It's like
they have.
It's like
the N is silent.
It's like what the fuck is that?
check them for fusion earrings like next time.
That's right. So yeah, no, so started getting into that, and then a lot of people were saying, we need another option, we need something different other than Funimation, and I just go, you know what? I've had these storylines because I've had these 2 and about 3 others, like full storylines in my head for years, which is quite confusing. So I was like, Yeah. I don't remember anything else. My girlfriend tries to tell me stuff, and I'm like, huh? She's like, I told you that 5 minutes ago. I was like, there's a lot going on up here.
I'm constantly compressing data. I'm
That's
constantly
right.
opening data. It's an open and close thing. What's my name again?
Right. Where am I?
Yeah.
The Alzheimer's kicked in. I have zero idea where I'm at, what I'm doing.
Awesome.
And
So
I'm
you got
just
malware in
existing.
your brain. That's even more
That's
fantastic.
right.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna create an animation studio. And I was like, cool. I filled out all the information online to submit my business license and stuff like that. And I was like, cool, we're gonna do this. I started talking about things online, and then I started. I think it was after Bubba Fest last year when I actually got to meet Nick and talk with Vic a little bit.
That's cool.
That I found out that your typical 30-minute animation to do like an entire production costs roughly 30 grand.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
It's
I'm
a
a
lot of
FedEx
money.
driver.
And it comes in three anime. It comes in 3 packages as well.
Right. And I was
Minimum.
like, oh man, I'm a FedEx driver. Let me see. If I eat nothing, how many, and I work 7 days a week, let me carry the two. How many paychecks is that? Like just calculating out.
But this is gonna FedEx truck full of stuff. you know?
Right. Exactly.
This isn't
But
making it. It's gold
The,
teeth.
the funny thing is I actually kind of got lucky when COVID happened, everything kind of went to shit. But being a
Yes.
FedEx driver outside of Washington, D.C., they were like, we're busier than we've ever been. Do you want to work 7 days a week? And I was like, yes, I do. I've got
I
a
don't
lot of
need-
money I got to come up with,
And-
and I don't need sleep. Whatever.
I don't
what is
need to eat either. I could work all the time.
what's
Every
personal
day.
time?
Just
I don't.
imagine like all those PS5s that mysteriously disappear, you know?
That's right. That's right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
We're not saying anything. All those went to the project.
Yep. If anything, anything outside of Washington D.C. goes missing, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry at the same time.
Just saying sorry to make you feel a little bit better.
Exactly.
Don't really care.
I only kind of halfway meant it. I feel bad that you caught me. I feel bad that you noticed.
and now I'm over it because we got Vic, motherfucker.
Right. But all jokes aside, I cannot say that I'm stealing money from people because we have a place called Fantasy of Soft Entertainment for that.
Yes, we've seen that happen, haven't we? So like,
well, that's kind of, it was funny because 2 weeks after I came up with the idea for the studio and I said, okay, I'm going to do this. And I started talking about it online. Nick got that, that super chat about Fantasy Soft Entertainment needs help because their main investor, backed out after their support of Vic or whatever. And then I was like, oh, there's another animation studio. And I was like, cool. Thought great idea. And I started looking at their stuff and I was like, wow, they're way ahead of me. That's pretty cool. And it was actually kind of funny because at one point, when I learned how long it was, how much money goes into it, I kind of backed off of social media for a while. And I was like, okay, one, can I do this? Okay, I can do this. It's going to be a pain, but I can. All right. Second thing, how can I do this? And during that time, I just see the dude just, he's got a Twitter for him. He's got a Twitter for the studio. He had a Twitter for like 3 of his characters. And he's like constantly tweeting back and forth, like, I'm going to be the king or whatever. And I was just like, how does this guy have this kind of time? And it kind of weirded me out a little bit. And then I realized, like, then obviously Emish came out and kind of debunked the whole thing.
Yeah.
Shout out to Emish. He's a good dude. I met him at KamehaCon too, and he was just really nice. And before I even decided to do the studio, we were, we met and we were cool. We chatted up a bit. And then when I decided to come, do the studio, he's been like, he was kind of there like, oh, I've met this guy. He is actually a real person.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Not Robot Ken Jennings, so that was cool.
not Robot Ken.
Right.
He is a person that needs food and oxygen to survive.
Both his microphones as well. Remember, they had to be constantly
That's right.
toothpicks, put in jars of water, and have the USB plug directly in the computer and the potato at all times.
Exactly.
Mr. Hop, you have something encroaching on your camera. It looks like Godzilla. It's it's,
There we go.
there you go. Put baby back in the corner.
Listen here, Godzilla. We talked.
Godzilla.
All right.
But
We'll
so I mean, with Fantasy Soft being like the main thing that came out, I mean, Mr. Hop and I deal with this sort of shit all the time running conventions, right? Because we're running an independent convention, independent from everything that's in the region here, but we still have to deal with the fallout of every bad thing every other convention does. So like,
of course, it's all their fault.
there is defunct conventions. We're not going to name them, obviously, for reasons, but there were conventions that did not go so well, and they have shied away investors. They've shied away guests, and things like that. So like with Fantasy Soft completely going like full race car in this
into the wall,
into the wall.
It's got the safety corners,
full fast and
belts, kind of
full Fast and the Furious, right into a tree.
Too fast, too furious, no seatbelts. There's a tree. Sweet.
Like how do we like? So this is like an uphill battle for you to build something. Like how do you go about that?
Yeah.
Well, especially because I kind of started really strong on, hey, I'm going to make this animation studio. I'm going to make this thing happen. And then I kind of backed out because I was like, I don't know. I'm the type of person that I like to have something before I talk about it. And so when I realized like, I'm more of action speak louder than words kind of person. So when I saw like how long this, how much money was going to go into this and knowing that I didn't have the resources at, present to do that, I backed off a little bit so that I could kind of come up with a game plan so I can say, okay, here we go. This is what I'm bringing to the table. This is what I've got.
Yeah.
So that, it's not just, words on Twitter or whatever.
Gotcha.
So it has been an uphill battle, especially with that action kind of going into place. The the only thing I could really say is that that's not, is explain that that's not really, I'm not in the same boat as them. I actually have plans to do what I say I'm going to do. And I have not used Vic's name to collect money on Patreon. So shout out a little bit of something going in my favor there.
I'm pretty sure you can use Nick's name. I don't think he'll care.
I've used Nick's name, but only when I give him super chats. So.
Exactly.
It's so interesting because there is a lot of people out there that are kind of trying to use Vic's name and Vic's situation to prop up their own things. I mean, we've been accused of it ourselves.
Honestly, really?
Yes.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
We have
never heard it. Never heard anything. You guys were clear as far as I know.
Well, no, I mean, I'm happy about that. I mean, like obviously, there's a bunch of people out there trying to push different views on things, and that's the way it is. I mean, like we've had him on the show now, for goodness sake. Yeah. So it's like,
Well, we've had him at the convention.
At the convention, we've had him. Like we've done all sorts of stuff for him. So it's like, I can appreciate people that aren't just slapping his name around when they've barely ever had a conversation with him. Like my understanding of the whole Fantasy Soft situation, the guy reached out to Vic and got a quote of what his price was, and then just like never got back to him, and then confirmed that Vic was working with them. They was going to voice this character, and it's like, well,
yeah. Well, the other thing was like the guy's Patreon was just like, oh, hey, for $100 a month or whatever, I'll have Vic send you like a personalized greeting, and like that was the part that I was like, well, that's really messed up. Like I've seen a lot, people use Vic's name and stuff like that, but I don't know if it was like a monthly thing, but he had some kind of tier or something where he was gonna have a personal thank you from Vic in his thing, and it was some weird tier that he made, and I was just like, wow, that part was a little bit that I thought was like really fucked up. I was like,
It's funny and odd all at the same time because you're
It
paying
is.
$100 a month for the Patreon thing, and it's
And
like,
Vic's got to
well,
send you a
okay,
thank you every month, or
exactly.
does he do
Every
one? Does he do
single
one
month.
personal recording and you just replay it every month? Like I don't know how that business model works out, but
It was something things like, "Oh, hello everyone, how you today?" And especially Nick Sanders,
Mr. Black.
oh my god,
there it is.
because isn't Vic on? He's on Cameo.
He's
Vic's
on
Cameo.
he's on Twitch now. I think he's
Well,
moved
no, but
from
Cameo
platforms.
is Cameo is a
Because
it's an app and a website where you could pay somebody like a celebrity like a couple $100 and they make like a personalized like greeting or whatever. Theoretically, he could have just gotten like hired Vic to be like, hey, say thank you or whatever, and then charge somebody $100 and just like replayed that message.
Yeah, I mean that's probably what the plan was like, you know, it costs like $20 or $30 to get Vic to record like a 2-second video, and then he charges someone $100 for it.
Right.
I mean, it's the whole Soldier Boy situation, you know, buying a Chinese console for $5 and reselling it for $150
with a laser printed sticker across the side.
That's right. Great engraving on there.
Engraving? No, that costs money. You want to have a laser printed sticker just on the side. Why? Because the thing is, come right off the laser printer, you cut it out.
Can it at least be holofoil? Like a holofoil sticker that like glossy? Oh,
listen, Phoenix.
Hop, give me a little
second. Listen to your buddy, Mr. Hop here. You got to cut the corners. You got to make it as cheap as you possibly can. If it's under 1/5 of a cent, then it's good. Anything above that takes away from the bottom line.
So we might not have another special guest jumping in. He knows a lot about indie comics and indiegogo. So I figured I'd shoot him an invite. We might have him on in just a minute or two.
All right, sounds good.
So people might know. So, but yeah, I mean, it's all this project and stuff like this takes a lot of money to do, right? It takes a lot of effort, a lot of marketing. So, what are some of the stuff that you're running into with running an Indiegogo?
Well, I guess the biggest pitfall is not actually doing enough research or not doing enough beforehand. I kind of started, basically getting the book made, hiring an artist, getting the book made. And like I said, with FedEx offering me, 7 days a week, that extra money was going towards, paying an artist to do stuff. And then I was like, okay, cool. I've got enough. Let me put it on Indiegogo. Let me, do the thing. And then I started kind of learning from other people that have created Indiegogos about some of the red flags, actually specifically about my campaign. And with my campaign specifically, one of the things that they were saying is because of the goal, the type of goal.
Okay.
So you have a fixed goal and you have the flexible goal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So with the flexible goal, or with a fixed goal, it says you have to make this goal or the money all goes back to the people that ordered.
Yeah.
Whereas I chose the flexible goal. And the flexible goal says that no matter what, whether this reaches funding or not, the creator gets the money.
Right.
So it raises red flags for people apparently, and I've just learned about this last night. Because some people have had a history of just getting the money and taking it and run.
Yes.
So here's a better question for you. Is this a situation where buyer beware type of thing? Especially knowing between the two of them and putting the responsibility on the individual that's investing?
Well, it is, but it's also in fact, I'm just going to take this down for one moment here, so we can get our beautiful faces on the screen.
There we go.
We've had the situations with the Zoe Quinns, with the Mars Girls, and things like that, where people raise money and they take the money and they just leave, and they don't make any product for anything, and they say, "Oh, the money's gone." It's like, well, where'd the money go?
Right.
I'm sorry, Mike, I did not get that invite yesterday. I'm sorry, I missed that. Mike Walters is in the chat.
Oh.
But yeah, so we have those situations where people do dishonestly do this, and it's one of those situations where it's a bunch of other people ruining it for everyone else.
Mm-hmm. And I guess the reason why I chose the flexible goal within itself was that after the whole learning, how much it costs to do an animation studio and trying to figure out how and why and like, you know, whatever.
It's hard.
I took a couple weeks to like emoly in my feelings, like, I don't know, can I do this? And then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna freaking do this, and I'm gonna do this no matter what. And so when I created the flexible goal, especially with Galden specifically, I chose that because I said I'm gonna make this book absolutely no matter what. So even if I don't make the actual goal, the people that backed it are gonna get the book and the full book, no matter how much in the red it puts me. I'm putting this book out because it's a story that I really want to tell, and I'm kind of investing in the future.
That's cool.
So, especially with Galden, since as you know, Chris, you decided to become a character in the book.
Yes.
We're already working on the pages for the people that back the become a character perk.
I'm excited.
So there's no, like, as far as for me, there's like no coming back. You're already in the book. You know, you've got your, you know, you purchased that tier. So as we create this book, you're in it no matter what. And so most of the people that actually chose to become a character perk are actually a lot of close friends of mine and close friends of my girlfriend and stuff like that. Actually, I think all but like 3 or 4 people, or 3 people, are actually friends. So that's one of the other things about this is it's people that know where I live.
People will hunt you down.
That's
so
right.
Phoenix Animation.
They know.
Yeah. How's that printing?
Right. So you said that I was gonna, but I guess to talk a little bit more about it, like one of my friends, he's basically in Northern Virginia. We've got like 2 very prominent counties.
Okay.
And one of my good friends that I've known for 12 years decided to be a character. He's the #1 bartender in one of the counties. And one of my girlfriend's friends is the #1 bartender in the next county. Now they're actually friends, but they also have this kind of rivalry. And they both decided to become characters. So I'm going to kind of also put that rivalry in the book.
That's awesome.
And since, you know, I've, you know, with people that back the become a character perk, I've asked, I'm like, hey, give me some personal information, somewhat, so that I can do something really cool. Like one of the things is when we get introduced to the characters, like my friend, for instance, who, you know, he'll say, yeah, I've got a wife and kids back home, and he'll like kind of pull out a picture that he carries of them. And so one of the panels will literally be a picture of him with his family. So it's kind of gives that personal vibe to it. And so, you know, I want to make this as awesome as possible.
We do have a legend in the studio right now is joining us.
Ooh.
Someone who's very familiar with Indiegogo and indie comic books, Mr. Doug Tenaple.
Ooh, Doug.
Who's this person? Who's this guy?
The man, the myth, the legend.
How are you doing?
Hello.
Welcome back to the show. Good
Hello,
to see
Mr. Tenaple. How are you doing today?
Hi. So good. You have your blankie on.
I do. I've been like all cold.
He's the most comfortable YouTuber ever.
Exactly.
I feel like I'm rolling you out of bed.
Wait a second. You're assuming I rolled out of bed.
Out of bed.
Assuming a lot.
And in addition, it's snowing here in Canada. So it's like -50. The wolves are out hunting down children. And also, Crest, if you can, check your microphone level.
What's
Is mine a little hot? Is mine a little hot?
Which microphone level?
Your microphone level. You sound like a robot.
Oh, that I can't help. I can't help. That's just the internet.
You do
Great.
sound
Ken
awesome
Jennings,
robot.
once again.
It's happening.
It's
happening.
You're slowly merging into Ken Jennings.
So who's Phoenix Animation? What's your name? Your name's not Phoenix Animation. What's your name?
No, I wasn't born that way. I transitioned into
Another tranny.
my name is Brandon.
Hi, Brandon. How are you?
Good. Actually, speaking of this legend, his Earthworm Jim comic, I backed #1 and I backed #2. #1, like a lot of my inspiration for what I want to do with the book and how I want it, you know, perfect bound and hardcover and everything that I want to put into it came from when I got his book.
Good.
That was, honestly, it was so well put together. The packaging was put together amazingly. It literally one of the best things that I've gotten
Cool.
It was
in a
fantastic.
long time.
Thank you.
I
Thank you all.
loved it.
And thanks for your support. And Crest, thanks for getting my name out there because you did a great
Absolutely.
review. And you helped me with my show, pumping it too. So
Absolutely.
There you go.
We have a fantastic show. It's great. People should watch. Like, where
Right?
else are you going to see like the actual artist working on pages for a book that you're
Yep.
backing
Yeah.
and paying
Yep, right
money
there.
for? So,
right there. I'm
So
inking
awesome.
pages all day.
so awesome. Yeah.
So I do like the idea of upping all of our game on crowdfunding and on artistry of the actual work. I don't want to see you guys who are coming into this getting ahead of your skis and putting out a little too much that you may not be able to handle. But as long as your campaign grows and then you trigger hardbound or then you trigger perfect bound, then hardbound, you can slowly grow up so you don't get into trouble.
Right.
But you could do a high quality floppy book too. So I'm just saying, you just let it step up as you go.
Yeah.
Well, my book, the first issue of my book is going to be over 100 pages. It's just
Wow.
how it's going. I jumped head first, and I'm
Good.
going right in. Whether I land in water or concrete is up to how many backers I get.
What that does though is it helps grow an audience of storytellers. There you go, 2,100.
Awesome.
People who like story want 100 pages. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You're going around. What you're telling people, this is a flex, and this is a beautiful looking book. What you're telling people is, I'm a storyteller, and this isn't like a collectible piece of fandom. But if you're doing 100 pages, you're saying, I'm going to get you with my story.
Yep. I have actually framed out over 100 pages on this book. 7 books long is at right now where I'm sitting at. Like I've got a scene planned out in book 7 where one of my characters loses half of his arm because he's saving his daughter, and Cress's character here, who's got this like mechanic technical background, actually builds him a cybernetic arm.
That is so awesome.
So that he could continue the fight. And so I've got
maybe a foot.
Like I said, I've been thinking about this story and coming up with the framework and all this stuff for 4 years.
That is so cool.
It's been something that I really,
Yeah.
that I'm pumped to bring.
It's a great looking book, which is the hard part. And then doing 100 pages is the second to the hard part. So it's a difficult climb because, we live on YouTube, right, as our marketing. It's all of our communication. It's all of that stuff. That's the easy shortcut, is trying to get the word out through YouTube, right? As you get 30 people watching or whatever, 100 people watching, whatever. The harder climb is to be a storyteller, because most people buy things on emotion and on online fandom. And that's just the language that we speak. That's the river that we're flowing down. It does not always serve as a great storyteller. It's not always great for storytellers because that's a much slower climb. They have to read your book. They have to become a fan of it. They have to get sucked into your story after you deliver. And all this crowdfunding is based on front end. Trust us. We swear we're telling a story.
And like, I can just tell from these pages here, like there's a lot of care and detail that are going into this. I'm super duper excited for the story. I mean, I honestly think $150 US to become a character in a series like this is an absolute steal.
It's dirt cheap.
It is.
Dirt cheap.
That's dirt cheap.
Yeah.
It is. And a part of that is because I don't really have a name within the comics book industry. Like I said, I've done, conventions as a vendor selling this metal art stuff for, 6 years now. But as far as actually like jumping into a comic and doing this is my first one. And so that's part of the reason why having, for me, the investment of having characters in here for the long term kind of gives it that personal vibe that they'll tell their friends about this when book 2 starts, working, going into production. They're going to back it. They're going to tell their friends to back it so they can continue seeing their journey throughout the story.
Yeah. Make sure you tweet me in a couple links as you throw that link out around in the next couple of days, and I'll give you a retweet to my followers. So
Thank you so much, Doug. I
It's
appreciate
a great looking book, and you're right about the detail in the backgrounds. That is really impressive. The tone work and stuff is really well done.
Really, really impressive. Like it's more detail that I'm seeing in most of the AAA comics and the high backed comics. Like it's incredible. Really,
Well,
really
the real
well.
test of this, this is from a design standpoint.
Mhm.
The real test of it is I'm on a crummy monitor, and this is a small thumbnail. This is a thumbnail on a YouTube show, and I can see exactly what's happening on the page from here. So many artists, when you get into the detail, it starts falling apart. I just posted a page where it was just like kind of camouflagey because it was too much detail. You're putting still putting in really big, strong blacks that hold the page down. That is a tough way to think when you're designing this, because you're working on, down to the minutia down at this page. But when you pull back and it still works, that is a correctly designed page. Very strong. Really well done.
Thank you so much, Doug. Appreciate that.
It's good. Good contrast.
There was
wonderful.
Yeah, it is. It's something that I've been very, very particular about, is how this comes out. And then, Doug, if you stick around and see Reclaiming Zendara, you'll see something completely different, but at the same time, still very detailed and still very unique.
Cool.
So I'm gonna pull that up right now. So if you guys
okay.
want
Well,
to
there we
keep,
go.
if you guys want to keep chatting.
Yeah. So the thing is book one takes us about halfway through that tournament that I talked about. Book two takes us the rest of the way, and then there's 5 more stories for life afterwards, where things don't always work out the way that they were designed, and things kind of go awry.
Part of the plan.
That's right.
What's your page production schedule like? How long does it take you?
About 5 pages, 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yep.
So a page every other day or so.
Yep.
That's pretty good turnaround.
Yeah,
it is. It's very good.
Yeah.
And here we have the second. These links are in the description of the stream right here, so you can check them out. Let's just take a peek at these pages here.
With this one, Aliens Descend. This is the one that I really thought of for like Vic's character as the voice. This is the first idea I came up with 6 years ago.
Wow.
So basically, we follow our main character. He's kind of got the news in the background. Then he sees aliens have descended. I played with page 2 a little bit, doing like a third-person, first-person view. So you see him looking out the blinds, then you see what he actually sees, where you get the finger details and you kind of see the glow coming off of the ship. And so I kind of play a little bit with first-person, third-person on this. And then he comes outside. He's running with everybody else. Turns. Boom, explosion. He sees a little alien before he passes out. He wakes up and he's with a bunch of other people on an alien ship. He's like, what's going on? This girl decides to tell him, like, well, humanity gave it their best shot. We tried. And
it's all over now, but that was
That's right. So we brought tanks and missiles, and we brought the Antifa boys over there, and we did our damnedest.
Hockey sticks, yeah.
That's right. And
Bricks
they just didn't exactly by the truckloads.
Yeah.
But it did not work out, and they ended up on this ship. The alien leader's taking them these aliens are taking people one by one to this alien leader. And as we see here, he's a giant 20-foot monster. We get kind of close-up views of his face. He's like, hey, Mr. Monster Man, please don't eat me. I'll, teach you everything you need to know about the planet. I'll give you, I'll tell you what foods taste the best. It's definitely not me, but let me show you.
There's so much better tasting stuff than people.
That's right. That's right. And so we're back on the ship, on this holding ship. We see this, the ship's kind of moving, and then bam, people get beamed down to what they think is Earth. And this one guy over here, he's just like, hey, you could have dropped this off closer to home, and everybody's cheering. And then you see the silhouette for this monster, and our main character has realized that this is not Earth, and everybody scatters and runs away.
That ain't
and
normal.
So now,
so is it like a monster coliseum that they're put in where they're going to be fighting monsters, or is it just a hostile environment?
So now they're on this planet. They have no idea where they are. And there's a commonality between all of these people. And I guess that commonality of these people is that they've all done wrong on Earth.
Huh.
what that being did when he looked into these people is he saw their character what's inside. The people, what you don't know until the very end of this first book, is that the people that were good people, they actually ended up staying on Earth. Now, these people that are here on this planet have all done bad things. And so, we've got everything from like dog fighters to murderers to pedophiles to everything. And they get put in situations
Evangelicals.
it's supposed to, basically they get put in a situation where it's similar to the things that they've done on Earth. And if they realize the error of their ways before they die, they actually get to go back to Earth and try to, reconcile in that way. If not, they die a horrible death. Now, what we don't find out till later on in this, in the series of this book is that the alien leader that's doing this is actually a good guy. And there's another alien creature that has these relics that feed off of the energy in the universe. The more negative energy in the universe, the stronger he becomes. So this is this guy's way of basically like Thanosing all the evil from existence in order to weaken this guy before he takes over the universe.
Sure.
That's very interesting.
So is he rooting for the monsters to kill these people?
No, he wants these people to
change and become good.
To change and become better people.
Okay, he's going to switch out their energy.
In fact, our main character, the reason why he's there ultimately is because he was just a cyberbully dude who messed with this kid too much that if you see in the very first page, the kid ended up killing himself and he blamed him for it. So the thing is this just happened. Now, the alien leader sees that this kid actually kind of isn't a bad guy, but he's made some mistakes, but he sends him to the planet anyways. And our main character instantly realizes, well, this is karma. This is why I'm here. And he kind of accepts it. Now, the alien leader ends up taking him, back onto the ship and saying, look, we know you're not really a bad dude, but you made some mistakes. There are more people on this planet dying from other bad people on the planet than the actual monsters. What we want to do is have you go down and help these people realize why they're there and make the change that they need to make. And so he gives him a sword, gives him powers, gives him strength in order to survive on that.
Is that the monster thing coming off his head? Is that part of him or is that a bad guy? The monster.
Which one?
The thing coming off his head right there.
Oh, that's a monster in the background. That's just another monster.
It's behind him.
Yep, it's behind him. So
cool.
This is very much it's a different type of story, but it's kind of one of those ones that speaks on the cosmic, to the cosmic good and the fact that the our actions have a ripple effect. And so
and I like stories that have a moral component. I mean, most stories do.
Right.
But this one's loaded with reclaiming Zendara and the Judgment Day and all that. It's great stuff that people wonder about. I mean, it reminds me of Hunger Games too, where this epic, they're put in an arena and, in a way, what separates a hero from the crowd? Why admire this hero? Is a good question to ask in a story.
Because this person, this hero is just a real life person who made mistakes, realized it, was given the opportunity to, affect the universe and kind of recompense for what he's done by helping other people. And so he does it. And like I said, this book's actually going to be going for about 7-8 books as well. The amount of time that they spend just on this planet is about 2 books. And then there's way more story as the alien leader actually recruits our main character onto his crew to continue to do this with other planets. But as they start doing it on other planets, something else happens and it becomes more of a story of we have to stop this guy and there's this negativity before it swallows the universe and it becomes something completely different.
Am I
Very
confused or are you running 2 campaigns at the same time?
I am running 2 at the same time, Doug.
He's a madman.
That is that's a concept I haven't heard of yet. 2 campaigns.
Let me tell you, Doug.
I'm not aware of that strategy, Brandon.
I am pulling my hair out every minute. My hair used to be down here.
Okay, it's going up.
But I don't know. I've got an awesome artist on that. And so that's part of what's helping me out is the fact that I get to kind of delegate that work. And I've got an artist that is utterly amazing. Like I literally I have pages where it says, okay, this panel, this is what's happening, this is what's happening, this is happening. I literally give it to him and he comes back with that. And it's exactly what I have in my mind. And it's just this perfect relationship that I have with the artist where they see exactly what I'm seeing.
Sure.
And so it makes it really,
Do
a
you
lot
write
easier.
panel by panel breakdowns in your script, or are you just writing a regular
Yep.
feature script and then?
Nope. So originally when I came up with these concepts, like I said, I was trying to do like an animation, an anime for it. And so everything is kind of like the chapters are really episodic with these because I always visioned them as episodes. And now the way that I work with my artists is I break it down by panel, by page. Like I want this, I'd say literally page 5, this panel's this panel's this panel's this, character descriptions up at the top, so that they can see exactly what's going on in my mind. And it's worked out amazingly.
Sure.
That's so awesome.
I do have a quick question here.
Yes.
I am slightly getting concerned for young Phoenix animation person here. Why? Because he's existing in a 30-hour and a 24-hour day. And the thing, running like that, it's not going to end up well. But here's my question. Here in Canada, and Doug, if you could chime in with us, it'd be absolutely fantastic. Here in Canada, we have grants and bursaries set up specifically for artists to do animation or illustration or get into commercial arts or get into fine arts, the case may be. In America, are there grants and the bursaries for stuff like this? I'm using grants and the bursaries, not loans. Very key, very important.
Right. Well, nothing's like the Canada Film Board for animation. They're the most amazing.
For sure. And there's other organizations.
But they're also pulling from mineral rights. So they have a pretty deep pocket, and they've created, a long-term 40-year legacy that established in a huge industry now. More animation's done in Canada than anywhere else, more efficiently and better. So they've actually taken over an industry that the rest of the world, Canada kicked it, and my hat's off to them because they really do have the best animators in the world live in Canada.
For sure. On a provincial level, there are grants and the bursaries. On a state level, is there a same thing? Because I know things change from state to state, from place to place.
Right.
America has the National Endowment of the Arts, which is more snobby, fine art, people putting bullwhips in each other's butts, things like that. It's way more esoteric. It was never about building an industry the way Canada. I don't know if they planned that, but that's how it worked. It just ended up working.
Because up here, if you're in a certain age demographic, and of course you're financially strapped because of your expenses and so forth, they will give you cash just to complete your project. No strings attached, except for one, which is you have to complete what you're doing. And if you don't, it's like, But long story short, there's several nonprofit organizations up here in Ontario that does that. Plus, on top of that, on a federal level, there's stuff like that as well. So again, that's the inquiry, because basically what I'm hearing, 100 pages per book, 7 books, plus an animation studio on top of that. That is going to take a lot of money. But however, the thing is that since Young Phoenix here probably hits a certain age demographic, again, grants and the bursaries are definitely needed, because if you take a loan out and the project doesn't do well, you're saddled with that debt. And
I think that's what created like Kickstarter and Indiegogo in the States was a lack of that.
Yeah, it's free. America's model is always going to be more free market. So America's model, but the thing is, like Kickstarter and Indiegogo, they've raised something like 100 times more than the history of the National Endowment of the Arts. So even when we have government funding these things with a whole lot of money, the private sector in America always does better. Canada's different in that they have these mineral rights, right? They were just making billions and billions off of oil and all that. And they're going like, well, do we just want to be a bunch of, coal miners and oil tycoons, or do you want to invest in culture and in the arts? And they always, this is probably the French side of them, but they always had this idea going, we're going to use this money to build our culture, which is great. America is different in that they would always say, we're going to build our culture by giving more of the money to the artist if they happen to get lucky and earn it themselves. So you'll get more entrepreneurs the guys like Todd McFarlane would come here and clean up.
Yeah.
Or Jim Carrey would come here and clean up because that's more the private model. So you have to think more like free market capitalism if you're going to come here and put out your crazy ideas. You'll get Ninja Turtles.
Exactly.
Kevin Eastman, I know, like at one point had from a toy company, gave him like a $17 million check on the spot.
Oh my God.
Because of the toys were doing so well.
Whoa, wow.
Yeah. The problem is it's way more brutal. This model is way more brutal for the up and comers. It's very hard to get a foothold in.
Yeah.
Hats off to you if you make it, because you could get a movie deal, you could get a Netflix deal, you could get a big publishing deal, Kickstarter. You could luck out and get like Cyberfrog got $1 million. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. The problem is way less people are going to crack at it than if you have a government funding the arts. So
that's true.
It's kind of the good news is the upside's way bigger. The bad news is it's harder for more people to hit that upside. Very talented artists.
More of a gamble.
Shoot up, spit out, and fail in America.
That's
very
true.
talented artists.
Well, I guess
two. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I guess two quick things. One, Mr. Hop, I am available for adoption if you want to.
You just got to marry Crest. Just marry Crest.
I don't think my girlfriend will be okay with that. But
Crest has a whole lot of other relationships going, as you know.
There we go.
Way open in Canada.
We could put up some floating walls. It'd be fine.
Exactly.
But in all seriousness, it's too cold in Canada. I'm sorry, I'm out.
So your big plan, Brandon, is to go crowdfunding, or you're going to try and fund the animation also?
Well, here was the cool thing about, and this is one of the other things that kind of happened. So in August, I went down to UltraCon. If we all know, there was a mutual friend of ours down there as well, and I got a chance to really kind of actually finally talk to him about what the actual idea for the books and the stuff was, and he actually loved it. He thought, he was like, please make this is great, like especially with reclaiming Zendara. He really liked that same I guess moral fiber to that storyline, and he was like, yeah, please make this. And he's like, I can help with finding investors and stuff like that once you actually have like a solid book, if you want to go into the animation, business. He's like, I can help you with certain resources if you need it, which is an amazing offer.
I know who you're talking about.
You have no idea, Doug. Did you guess?
Son of a bitch.
He offered me the same thing over dinner and drinks.
He's I do think the good news is the future of animation is going to be indie. It is going to be like crowdfunding.
I think the future of entertainment is going to be indie.
Yes.
Like, look at it. Let's take a critical look at it for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It sucks. Basically, just the other day, both Crumb and I were completely geeking the fuck out over the new Mandalorian TV show.
Yeah.
Going, this is the best thing in the last 30 years. And I had to stop myself and I had to ask, why, besides of Doug's books, is this the best thing in 30 years? Oh my God. It all is poopy now.
Yeah.
Well, it's all the same idea, just told in a different way. I mean, they don't really have too many ideas. And that's why you see, like, with Netflix, especially with like anime, Netflix and Hulu, but Netflix more is taking on more independent projects, like you saw with Castlevania and stuff like that.
Well, the biggest thing behind that, I'm not quite sure if anyone's paying any attention towards the Japanese box office recently, but Demon Slayer animated production has made over $2 to $3 million in the box office. Wow. Meanwhile, The dribbling stuff that's coming out of Disney can't even compete with that anymore because they're going to go, hey, all that animation stuff we did back in the 90s? Yeah, let's make it live action, make a lot of CGI. What about original new content? No, we can't compete with that. No. I mean, well, in Japan, it's like, well, we have a lot of original content, and guess what? We made more money than the whole North American box office with one production. Plus, on top of that, in China, they've released between 10 to 20 full-length animated productions just based on that one success.
Well, we've been spoon-fed pablum for the past 20 years of like the same cut and paste garbage, the same like splashy stuff that just like put CGI over it. Like most of the people in this chat and in this stream right now grew up with Jim Henson. Like we understand the value of having a tangible thing there to interact with. Like I think that's why The Mandalorian has been such an amazing series, is because as much as you could go through and CGI Baby Yoda, now named Grogu, as much as you could CGI,
is it like? What is
it's Baby Yoda. They, on this last episode too, he's like going Grogu, and Grogu goes, and they're hammering that name so hard. They're trying so hard.
Isn't it funny? The nickname is doing better than a bunch of guys sitting around a table saying, "Okay, what's some variation of this? Grogu seems to be doing quite well and trending. Well, we'll call a character that." What about Baby Yoda?
Seriously, and like even like the Mandalorian couldn't, because he starts this episode just saying Grogu over and over again, being like shocked.
And in the first 30 seconds of him doing expository dialogue in front of Baby Yoda, that was more than he's spoken in the entire series. I'm going, man, Mandalorian, when did he get so chatty? He's like, Grogu. Whoa, we got a different writer on this episode or
he's
something.
Getting more connected to his sensitive side. That's kind of what's happening, Dougie.
But like they could have given him the episode 3 Yoda treatment and made him all CGI, but then you wouldn't get that like genuine interaction between actor and physical like type of thing, which is what we're seeing with The Mandalorian right now. And that's such a valuable thing to have in acting, I think, that we've lost in recent years.
I know that Mandalorian, it looks beautiful. It is amazing, but it is simple enough of a Western.
It is.
We could have gotten together with a bunch of homemade funky looking armor and probably made a pretty good space Western that's similar to that.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah.
There's no reason that had to be, the quality level obviously had to be Disney and Star Wars, but there's no reason more and more of us can't do that kind of stuff, with a post-apocalyptic Western, if you're catching me. It may not, we may not be able to afford the baby, but we could do some other puppet or a kid or
exactly.
And the fight stuff, there's nothing.
And the funny thing is, just to add more validity to what you're saying there, Doug, what got me involved with online video producing is that way back in the day, late 90s, early 2000s, well, I'm going back that far, is that there was a Star Wars thing called Troops, which was basically just a bunch of kids dressed up in the desert, hunting down, these droids, stuff like that. But it was so funny and so witty. Lucas went, "Okay, we're going to give you some money and we're going to redo this." Okay.
I really wanted it. He opened up the Star Wars universe to doing shorts by anybody.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to do the biggest Jawa, and I wanted to do a short with a bunch of kids playing, and I wanted to be a Jawa, a 6'8" Jawa. I'm 6'8". Oh my God. And like they go into the sandcrawler, and he bonks his head, and like they're all they're hiding under rocks, and my head's like totally sticking out, as I'm puddling down.
Dude, that's freaking hilarious.
Yeah. And then
that'd be amazing.
And then the very end of it is the sequel, which is the littlest stormtrooper, and I would get a guy in like me or some guy even bigger than me in like a Chewie outfit with a stormtrooper on top, so like hair sticking out, and you see a stormtrooper go up and you hear the little radio voice like, I just thought it was great mashup.
To Doug's point, I was literally going to just say there's a group of LARPers out there that are like, I could have been rich looking at the Mandalorian.
Honestly, though,
times where,
Yeah.
like,
Well, the
honestly, though,
stormtroopers
I
running
see
on the
stuff.
rocks, that just looks like the
Yeah.
guys at Comic-Con running around on rocks.
It does.
I mean,
seriously,
yeah, exactly. Especially
seriously,
yeah,
and like
yes.
honestly, like Brandon said, you know, like he was inspired by your work on the Earthworm Jim books to start up his own stuff. Maybe this is going to inspire a generation of filmmakers to go out and like maybe make the next Evil Dead or something like that.
Here's my theory on why it's going to work. This is why it's going to go this way. Okay, when I worked on VeggieTales, we did a ton of episodes for Netflix and DreamWorks, right? All of cable was terrified of what Netflix was doing. They're going, holy
Yes.
cow, we're losing everything, guys. Netflix, though,
Shit.
isn't trying to compete with cable.
No.
Netflix is terrified of YouTube. So cable's upset because, right, they sell advertising time, and they're funded by you either subscribing to cable or buying the products that are advertised on those cable
Yes.
companies.
Yes.
Netflix blows all that model away because they have, it's not so much the subscription money as the stock price is what's funding their billions, their giant takeover, right? They just came in and took over all production.
Yeah.
But they're afraid of YouTube. Now, what is YouTube? It's freaks like us. This show
Yeah.
is pretty much what all of YouTube looks like. It's a bunch of people talking or a bunch of people doing their own movies and their own series. This is what Netflix is afraid of, and I'll tell you why.
All right.
How much? What is the production budget on this show?
Well, I got paid. The check cleared.
I've been-
You got ho-hos and ding dongs. It's all you get.
That's so true, Doug. I'm
You get
sorry.
nothing. You got
I was
food.
trying to
You got
be cool for 2
you
seconds.
got a Coke. You guys got Cokes. So
that blanket's coming out of your budget, by the way.
Yep.
So look at the
I mean,
look
do
at the
you
Pepsi,
file
right?
that as a
My
work
husband's
expense?
sponsoring anything.
Okay, so I just want you to think for a second, though. What's happening to the audience? There's more people watching YouTube now around the world than any other channel.
Yeah.
The audience is being enculturated to people who look like us, a 54-year-old man, a trans, a fat guy,
Hey!
a balding comic
You're
book
old,
artist.
man.
No,
Yes,
listen.
yes.
We are the people
Normal
that Netflix is afraid of, and people are
Exactly.
seeing people without makeup on, bad sound, bad lights. Suddenly, anyone can do the most powerful entertainment, the most watched entertainment in the world. Suddenly, what happens when we start making movies, TV shows of people that look like us?
Exactly.
We're gonna blow them all away because the audience is gonna start looking at stuff, even like Mandalorian, and going, "That looks too polished. It doesn't look real." People like us are real. So after a while, I think scripted drama and stuff like that is going to go the way of the buggy whip.
Yeah.
It's why reality television blew up and took over television. Is people started saying, "I want to see me." When I see some YouTuber, I was just looking at a YouTuber guy. He had like 600,000 followers on his channel. He's like crying online. We see his cat die online. He shows his wife pregnant belly. I'm going like, this is like a car wreck. People want to see real life car wrecks of real life people. This is where I think the future is going to go. I think the audience is going to start going, I'm not going to subscribe to Mandalorian. I'm going to pay for this channel's meager budget, however it gets monetized. I think YouTube's monetization system is terrible, but I think if you can find a way to sell merchandise like comics or Canuckleheads coffee cups or whatever,
Exactly.
something's going to monetize this. But meanwhile, even before the money comes, the audience is already here.
Yeah. So here's a question for you. Do you ever think that Netflix might look at YouTube and go, you know what? What you have there is really nice. We're just going to go over there and grab that. And
I don't think
they can. No one can afford to buy Google.
No.
No one can afford to buy. These are giant competing worldviews. And YouTube, which is stupid, is always shooting themselves in the foot by undermining our channels. They're trying to push this garbage that we make off the air, but this garbage is kind of what made YouTube what it is. And I don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah,
but there might be a couple of alternate Twitch.
I honestly hope so, because YouTube in the early
Instagram is blowing up a lot right now. Like TikTok is just too short to be sustainable. But like
Yeah, I
Instagram
can't
is
get
blowing
behind
up,
that.
which is better. It's
TikTok's a great. I'm saying it. I don't know how to use it, but it's a great platform in that they're going to develop an audience that likes 1 minute things. And
Yes.
if 1 minute things
Right.
continue to take over the world, it's going to start limiting the stuff that we make because the audience may be enculturated to go. I only have the brain width for 1 minute, and then my mind shuts off.
like when Twitter kind of took over Facebook's reign of social media.
Or YouTube opened up the 4-hour show. It's like we can sit
Exactly.
here and talk for 4 hours, and there's an audience that'll sit here and listen to every second of 4 hours. There's guys that are
Right.
When I watched Nick Rekieta's stream,
I believe you.
and I see people super chatting that, he's like one of the top super chat shows in all
like
of
top
YouTube,
5.
and he's just a little guy. He's got 70,000 subs. So I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you really can defy gravity if you hit that magic mark. The only thing I would say, the problem is, Brandon, so is the audience may go, this today, anime is no longer. I don't want to read books. I don't want to read that kind of story. I want to see you.
Yeah.
Right.
It's entirely possible, I'm saying, but
Yeah.
times are changing before us so fast. The audience is shifting. Where I've done 20 graphic novels that were published by Scholastic and Image, they would get 150,000 sales on those. I barely made any money. I go on Indiegogo, and suddenly, if I can manage to make a decent percentage even of what I make, I've already made more on Earthworm Jim, the comic, than I did on 25 years of the video game.
And also on top of that, it gives you a lot of creative control. As an example said before in our previous broadcast before this, is like I really showed and tell your recent, my most recent book that you made. And the thing is that as a former publisher, like Doug, like there's a lot of work that went into that. I see it. I appreciate it. Like I don't even put it on my shelf. Like I keep it in my box. Within the box, it was shipped to me with, so it doesn't get
Mine's still in
personally,
I can't even walk to the comic book shop and buy that type of stuff.
I appreciate it.
The publishers fucking do
I
it.
love working hard for you guys. My readers and my fellow YouTube creatives and people that need some encouragement, I have always been on your side. I've always been about the little guy. I used to put on little shows. I did kung fu comedies. I do stupid shows. I want to put on a theater event or whatever. And that creative thing that's in all of us to put on a show, I'm willing to make sacrifices to do that with the books. That's because I'm not, just because money's sitting there and you raise $800,000 on Earthworm Jim, I don't go, I want to try and grab as much of that for me as possible. No, I want to take as little of it as possible, put as much of the money into the people who trusted me with that money. You're going to get that box and go, okay, I don't like Doug TenNapel, but this book, I'd be crazy to ever turn something like this down.
Like the books are amazing.
It was
They're
that
amazing
book
quality.
was next level. Like I got it. So my girlfriend doesn't really know. Like she knows comics and stuff, but not like she doesn't follow comics like that. So I get this in the mail, and then she's like, "Oh, what's this?" And I was like, "Oh, this is Doug TenNapel's Earthworm Jim book, based off a video game." She looks at it and she's like, "This looks great." And she loved the box that it came in. She loved the hardcover. She loved the engravings, the gold, at the end. Every minute detail that she put into there, Doug, was amazing.
People online, there's lots of people that hate my guts for justified reasons, but no one looks at my books and hates what I make. They look at that and they say,
not at all.
It's empirical. I'm saying you can have an opinion about me, but I've never seen an opinion on the books and say this guy ripped me off.
And
Not
also
at all.
Not one.
And also the other thing that really pushed me over the edge with you, because I really generally like what you do, is that after your first successful online campaign to publish your book, you even went back and you said, "Okay, kids, we're gonna make little fanzines now. This is how you do it. You cut a little thing down here, and you cut this little here. You fold it in half, and you staple it." And the thing is that people don't take the time and show the kids the first step they need to go into publishing. And the thing is that you did after your very successful first campaign of things. Like, Jesus.
I like going back and helping people get a start in is what I want to do. Because there's a lot of people that go, I can't afford even the initial publishing run. This is to Brandon. If you ever don't fund, I just go, I'm still a big fan of webcomics. Get that story out and then build your audience and then try monetizing them. You know, there's so many ways to crack this, or maybe all you can do is a zine, because you can just go photocopy those and you can't afford a traditional printer or whatever. Some of the best comics I've ever read in my life were zines. It's like, it is. And guys, you got to back this. You got to back this book.
Got to back this book.
Gotta
Got
back
it.
this
Both these books. Because like honestly, because these are great quality. I mean, like even if you're not interested in being a character, which I mean, like this is $150 to like immortalize yourself or a character in there.
What manga fan doesn't want to be a manga character? Come on.
Exactly.
Right. Like, and that's the thing, is that if it goes into, once it goes into the animation part of it, your character you literally are on TV as a cartoon character.
I'm in the Steven Zahn animated short, by the way. Steven,
awesome.
Steven Zahn, who did, he worked on Avatar and stuff. He made his short, Blossom Detective is his anime. He did. I'm one of the guards in that. I paid for that tier to be in that.
That's so cool.
Because we used to work together at Nickelodeon. I wanted to help to me, that is what the future of animation should be funding Steve on Kickstarter to do his own animated series. Turn me on so much. I'm a big fan, guys. It is, I swear it's the future. But the problem is the audience can't find us. They can't find your YouTube channel. Right. They can't find your campaign. Like I know for a fact, Brandon, that enough people saw this campaign, it would make $1 million. It
would.
It absolutely would. But you can't find enough people, and neither can I with my books. I know that every one of my books would be millions and millions. But Earthworm Jim 1 raised 800,000. My second Earthworm Jim raised 500,000. Just over half that. Why?
Yeah.
Those people either don't want to back the book or they can't find it. I know there's millions of people that would want that book. I can't find them. That's the tough problem on the internet, is no one can. It's the ultimate chaos engine, because anyone can find anything, which means no one can find anything.
No one can find anything.
You can literally find anything. So that's you're competing with everything in the world.
I guess to the chat that you brought up.
Aaron was asking.
So what I've asked for when people become a character is face shots, front and side, and then if you have any tattoos, like I've got my friend the bartender, he's got a full sleeve. He looks like Jason Momoa, and he's got this full Samoan tattoo sleeve, and I've had pictures of that because I'm going to have his character have that same tattoo. So it's very much you. Well, obviously we'll change the body type a little bit to kind of match what we're doing here, but yeah, it'll very much be you in the face, and
it'll definitely recognize you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
get them in
that's
there.
so awesome. Get them in there. Like, it's only 9 out of 21 claims. So like, there's still 12 spots available.
Exactly.
So like, get on that. Like, that's an incredible deal. An incredible.
And it'll help Brandon get over that mark. You got to get over that mark.
Got to get over that mark.
Got to be made.
Yep. Yeah. Doug, I put it as a flexible goal because I said no matter what, when I came to terms of like I'm gonna do this, I decided like that's it. It's happening. Yeah. People are already invested in becoming characters, are already being drawn in as characters, and so it's definitely gonna happen. And it's
going to get made 100%. I don't care if you have to work at Starbucks. You won't be the first guy.
I'm at FedEx, Doug, and they offered me when COVID started to work 7 days a week, and I've been doing 7 days a week since March.
That's awesome.
So it's going down.
I love my FedEx people because they come and deliver packages every day for me.
There you go. I'm Santa all year round.
They don't eat. They don't go in your fridge and eat your food and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a good relationship.
Yeah. We give you gifts without breaking and entering.
That's right. True. They just bring a box to my door. I like it.
That's right.
FedEx always has something, and I do like the idea of creatives having a regular job. It frees you up from forcing. If this project you go. I really need to sell out to sell this thing, so I'll just put boobies all over it. You know what I mean?
Right, right. Yeah.
It maintains your artist integrity to better serve a story if you alleviate the story having to make every dime right now.
Exactly.
like
You get
that's
to
the
do
thing.
more of your creative vision.
I think that my story is good enough to not need to have to depend on nudity or something like that in order to be a good story and,
Yeah.
and a worthwhile book.
I know a lot of comic artists. They do
I do.
furry porn to make a living, and I just go, man, that's
Right.
so sad. And by the way, the ultimate
it's
sellout is to work for a studio. When I work for studios, and I do work for studios from time to time, when I need to pay bills, I have to go back into video games and work on a game that's not mine. I don't get to create anymore. So they go, look, we'll pay you $150K a year, but you don't get to express yourself in any way. And if you work on someone's animated series, we'll pay you a ton of money to direct, we'll pay you a ton of money to write, but you don't get to be you anymore. You will only serve this IP. And to me, it's like, well, at least I got to pay the bills, but I might as well be driving for FedEx to pay the bills.
Mhm.
Right.
So it's not like working in a non-creative field is some terrible thing, because you're going to use the money to unleash the most creative personal IP exactly the way you want it. You have final cut on your own stuff. It's a great way to preserve what you do.
Question.
I appreciate that.
Stan threw something up just a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, Stan was Stan. So Toyman 99X. That's Stan Dowlin.
Oh, hey, Stan.
He was saying, please don't sell out. Don't become Rooster Teeth.
Oh, Rooster
No.
Teeth. Oh, I was asking what RT was. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
Right.
no, I 100% agree. I mean, like with Mr. Hop and I running Kitchener Comic Con, there's always the pressure to, get some massive sponsorship or things like that is going to leash us. Leash us and take away the soul, like it's done with Anime North, like it's done with the fan expos and the Con Bravos of the world. And like Doug is saying, like, don't sell out, just stay the course. Like if it's worth doing, it's worth putting your own money behind, and people will support it. A great product, which they've been doing with Doug, and like I know there's a lot more people out there that would love your product, Doug, and I'm sure that that's coming. It's you just have to have patience and faith.
It's better to fail this way, my way. I'd rather fail my way than succeed another way. I'm willing to put it all on the line, and this is what I want to do. And by the way, I've got some independent financiers now coming at me for animation, saying we want to fund. And I go, look, if I make stuff, I'm going to make stuff that's going to get all of us canceled. And they said, we're still willing to pay for it. We're ready. So
there you go.
I could expand into animation. And then the other thing I said is, look, I'm a full-time comic guy now. I'm like, if you're going to pay me, you're going to pay my entire year's salary. And then I have to take a break from comics to do it. So I can't do both.
And another question from Nern. Do you have two different artists for your projects?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Good.
Yes.
Don't overwork the poor artists.
Right. No, you can't do that.
They will.
One of the other things, as far as Stan is concerned with the whole like Rooster thing, that's one of the reasons why I decided to create this as Phoenix Animation as my thing, so that I don't have to conform to what somebody else wants me to inject into the story that I'm trying to create. I think, like I said, the stories are good. The stories are great. And I have 3 other ones that I'm going to be working on as well later on in like the end of 2021. I'm going to get through the first books of these 2 first before I start having like 5 campaigns going on at once. But
let's get up to 5.
I want to be able to provide the story that I'm, creating without having to have any kind of like influence from outside sources and, slip in, I guess like political ideology or any other kind of ideology into it. This is, a good story, and I don't have to worry about outside influence.
So, you're doing great.
And honestly, at $20 for a 100-page book, you're not going to find that at any comic book store.
That's right.
You're not going to find this quality of art. Like, people, you need to back this. If you have $20 in your pocket, it is worth the money to put behind this project because it supports independent creators. It shows people out there that indie comics are worth the effort to go into them, because it's not just backing the creator, right? You're backing the artists, you're backing the colorists, the everybody that's working on the project gets paid to do this. So
it's also you're showing that you love story.
Exactly.
Look, if you're not willing to pay $20 for a 100-page story, but you're willing to pay, $20 for a collection of Pogs, then maybe you like Pogs and not stories so much, or a Funko
What
Pop.
is with you with Pogs?
I know, I hate Pogs.
Douglas?
I'm
Man, I
only
used to have
saying,
hogs back in the day.
I'm always looking to develop an audience of readers who love story. And I don't know
Yeah.
how many of them are out there. I'm only saying, don't say that you're a comic fan, a character fan, a story arc fan, heroism, fairy tales, you love literature, all that stuff. Because if you're just going to buy, a Thor action figure, that is not a lover of story. That's a lover of a Thor character or whatever. And what these guys are doing is what Kirby did back in the day. Kirby didn't collect, little characters and stuff that other people did 50 years before. He created Thor. Like, he made the characters and told the stories. And now Marvel hasn't been doing their job for 40 years. They haven't been creating new stuff.
No,
Disney.
it gets even better, Doug. It gets even better. Allow me just to rant just a little bit here. Let's look at Marvel comic, okay? Basically, a Marvel comic consists of 24 pages, but one of the few things that goes on with a Marvel comic these days, you're really only buying 16 pages of story. A Marvel comic book today sells about for $4.99. So we got Young Phoenix animation, basically coming up with a 100-page story for $20.
Incredible.
Gates, you're giving your money to an independent artist who's putting his money where his mouth is, trying to put a good step forward and stuff like that. Meanwhile, Marvel has basically played the game so much, they know that for every one book they sell, they really sell like 4 to 5. And of course, the quality that you're getting has gotten less and less.
Yeah. And Marvel's working at a 95% margin, and Brandon's working at a 5% margin.
Yeah,
like,
and
it's not
it's the quality has gone down so much, and as fucking fans, apologize for swearing, Doug, is that we're just taking it. We're going, oh, that's awesome. Can we have more of your bad stories?
The fans gotta wake up and put your money where you want repeated. Everyone's complaining about Marvel, and they'll give them all their money, and Marvel's just going to keep repeating what they do.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm getting called to dinner. I gotta jump.
Thank you so much for joining, Doug. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
God bless you all. Thanks so much for having me on. You guys have a great day, and good luck, Brandon. Everyone back this book.
Thank you so much, Doug. Appreciate you coming on. Man, a legend.
Legend. You never know what's going to happen on this show. You never know.
Right. I honestly, I loved Earthworm Jim 1.
The funny thing about this particular broadcast, there are so many people that have traveled down the different types of roads, and the experience they have brought them success on a whole bunch of different levels. And of course, as time gets more and more complicated, it's just like, the thing is that there's no schooling for this. It's all trial by error. And the thing is that, again, at least people like Doug, myself, who have done publishing in the past, we could kind of see the exact same ley lines that are left out there, so forth and so forth. As things have changed, they're pretty much the same, except for this new crowdfunding thing, because there was nothing like that. Like, basically, you had to go to the bank, take out a loan. There was no grants and the bursaries for independent artists back in the day because it just wasn't there.
Well, this is basically like the public equivalent. I mean, back in the day, you'd have to go to studios and have like a business plan and pitch it to them and like beg and plead.
Oh yeah,
get table scraps.
Right. And it kind of goes to what Doug was kind of saying with this whole movement of people to Netflix and now YouTube scared to Netflix. Like, the more like there are, Hollywood's out of ideas, right?
It's true.
They're just pitching the same idea in a different way
that the general public doesn't know about yet.
There are more people that have ideas for great stories, and as more and more of these independent comic creators come out, and independent, game creators or anything come out, like for somebody like me, it was, knowing that, Comicsgate and this indie movement was out there was kind of it was a good, it made me feel a little bit more at ease launching into this, knowing that, okay, I'm not in this, like as far as Doug, I feel like he forged the Oregon Trail, like when going into this, like, okay, I'm going to forge my way over there, then I'm going to tell everybody how I got there, and which is amazing.
And all, dysentery and all, like
exactly.
He made it. He made it.
Lost appendages and everything. He still kept the drawing hand.
And he's got both the commercial background and the independent background as well to draw from. It's not like he's worked with the Nickelodeon Money Machine, and that's all he's done. It's like, no, he's done
Right.
independent stuff, he's done commercial stuff, and the thing is that for an individual with that much more experience,
Yeah.
plus getting involved with YouTube, plus on top of
Mhm.
all the stuff he's done, it's just really
Oh, yeah.
astronomical. People just fucking listen and make notes.
Like, seriously though, like, it's difficult to go out and make something. Like I've spent a long ass time writing, like putting pen to paper for my novel. I'm dragging my
Mhm.
heels. I need to finish it. It's done. Like the storyboard, like the everything is done. I'm fleshing out the first novel to 85,000 words. I've just been super lazy
wow.
in doing it. So that's generally
No,
when
that's
when you're writing like novels like Harry Potter or whatever else like that.
Mhm.
The first novel is recommended to be 85,000 words because you want it to be fleshed out enough that people don't just like read it and then forget about it, but it's a big enough
Right.
book. So like I could probably get 2 or 3 books out of this if I stretch it out enough, because
Mhm.
my first draft of it was really, really short because it was short and sweet to the point. But I
Mhm.
think like I could do a lot more world building in it and all that stuff. But
Well, that's kind of how things have gone with Galden. Like originally, it started off at 105 pages, and right
Yeah.
now, because of people like you and other people that have decided to become a character, when I add these personal things into it, it's already stretched out beyond 125. And so by the time other characters come in, it'll stretch 150. So the nice thing about it being independent and stuff is I'm flexible to
yes.
doing things, and because I want to inject that personal feel for everybody that does do that, it's nice that I have that flexibility to add as much personal detail, create as much backstory, and create a much more in-depth feel for the character, rather than, like we said, the cameo come in and die in 2 panels or whatever, or go into hell with Nick Ricada.
That's so funny. Like honestly, that's so funny.
He's
But no, I
surrounded
think
by lawyers. Yeah.
I think your project's gonna do fairly well. Yeah, don't forget to
Thanks,
send
appreciate
Doug that information too. 'Cause I
Yeah,
think
I'll
he'll definitely be
definitely
kicking
reach
that
out to
around.
him.
But
Yeah, I'd appreciate that.
so switching gears just briefly,
Mhm.
because we had another topic that we wanted to
Yes.
dig in on today.
Let's do it.
I didn't want to give this a whole lot of time. I wanted to give the meat and potatoes first before we got to the dessert.
And the
All
Yemi.
right.
But there has been some eating of oneself going on online. I don't know if you've heard about this news development recently, Phoenix.
Which news development?
About a certain plant man. I don't even call you a man. Maybe manlet.
Manlet.
Yes.
Manlet. I
Yes,
he who
yes.
will not be named, because he likes to falsely file DMCAs and threaten lawsuits and make a big stink
Mhm.
and talk about how big his dick is. Evidently to people who don't like hearing about it.
Yeah, not
But
at all.
tis.
Yeah.
What is yes, Mr. Initiative, as we'll call him, took a little bit too much initiative. It's now getting some blowback on social media.
It's not the
How
blowing
funny.
back that he wanted.
Not the blowing back he wanted. Not the blowing back that he wanted. Yeah, but I mean, like at first it was just a bunch of accusations, not a whole lot of information coming out, because everyone was just saying it's like, oh, blah blah blah. But now it's trickle information coming out from screenshots of his Discord showing that he was making some inappropriate jokes. Inappropriate jokes. I mean, like
asking for panties,
eating a jelly bean and saying, now I can say I've eaten Monica Rial is like
That's
100%.
That's horrible.
More fluffy kitten than come over to my house for some sexual healing. I'm just going to say.
Right. Well, I always thought that was weird that was a complaint, because when I first heard that jelly bean story and him saying, "Oh, I ate Monica Rial," I'm like, have you guys never heard of Attack on Titan before? I mean, I'm sure you could have
she's the main
that to be a
character.
Titan. Right. You could have constrained that to be a Titan joke. Like,
she's the main character. She's the Titan, right?
I don't know. She looks like a Titan. I mean,
she's got the teeth going on.
Right.
Because she's a single
she's the armored Titan.
That's like a black hole that nothing could escape.
It's such a weird hypocrisy with these people. But it's funny how with Emmett they're actually like jumping off ship with
Well,
you know,
the big
being in
thing
this
is
guy's
that
corner.
first- well, before you had this, you had Chris, who was basically part of Funimation, did horrible things online, started chase down kids for sexual gratification. After when he found out, like they're 15 years old, internet shots were done. He came and said, "Yes, I did this because I was in a dark place." It's like, oh
Right.
my Christ!
It's so
And then I'm
weird.
looking at this going, where in the fuck is Kick Vic? from all of this?
What
Oh,
makes
yeah.
me
No,
laugh
no.
about this entire situation is Mr. Initiative here
Yeah.
goes out and says, it's like, yeah, so what? So what? I did it.
Yeah,
You know, blah, blah, blah,
yeah.
blah, blah. It's Vic's
Yeah.
fault and all this other stuff. Like,
Yeah,
what?
it's Vic's fault. He planted ideas in my head, and I didn't have any tinfoil left, and the beams
It's
just
like,
got
like he just says, oh, I'm disappointed in myself, and these people are allowed to have their
Right.
opinions, so I'm just not going to talk about it. Like, that doesn't
Weird.
resolve anything, first of all.
yeah.
Second of all, you have people like Lynn Hunt out there saying that they've known about this since like he fucking started like 2 years ago, like basically taking advantage of the. It's like I'm not a big fan of the Kick Vic people. Like fully shocked Pikachu, like unbelievable. Wow, like
Really, you're not friends? Oh,
Oh
we've
no,
lost one.
we lost
Wait.
Chris.
Yeah.
Look at that. He got pulled off there.
Oh my god! Just totally nuked off the internet. They were like,
I don't know what was going into
yeah.
broadcast.
And it's like,
You could see.
oh, I lost
and
it.
it's like,
We're
no
back.
screenshots, please, and then just nuked it.
We're back. So yeah, like, I don't get where these people like they've known him for like a year or two. He's taken advantage of Kick Vic to gain notoriety or gain fame to make his own Discord server so he can fucking try and like groom people into relationships and whatever else. So like I don't get it. I don't get it.
It's a weird thing, and a lot of people have hopped onto that. Like you got that BT guy.
If we look at the Kick Vic movement just for a second here, the whole aspect is that Vic did something wrong. We have no proof. There's no documentation, but we heard rumors. And because of those rumors, we have to burn that fucking man to the ground. We have to do this to protect the children's.
Do you think,
etc.? So hold on. So basically, these two stories with Chris and Mr. Initiative comes up here, and I'm looking at these guys going, "Where's your fucking outrage? Where is this?
Right.
Where are the burning of the eulogies of these individuals? There's nothing to be seen."
No.
Like when I start talking about Chris and his stuff like that, I got some internet slack like 2 weeks later, and I'm going, "Oh my god." And the big replies was, "So who cares? Chris basically admitted it, and he was fine." I'm going, "All right, fine then. How about basically Monica, Ron, and the rest of the fucking guys would go out and get help, and things will be fine." He went out and got help, and all of a sudden, it just wasn't enough. And it's like, you have to be fucking kidding me! Like this is just totally mental.
Well, I see a lot of the Kick Vic stuff, right? And I see these guys like making comments and saying things, and then you see stuff like this come out with Emmett and Chris, and it just reminds me of like projection, right?
Exactly.
It's like, okay, I do this.
Yeah.
So because I do this and I exhibit this kind of behavior, if he exhibits a behavior that's similar to mine, he must do the same thing. But since I'm not exposed yet, I can turn around and expose him.
Yes.
And it's a weird projection thing.
And when they finally get exposed, they go, "Oh, it's just no big deal." It's only a 15-year-old. Who cares? Meanwhile, Funimation on the acquisition alone on what Vic supposedly has done, it's like he got fired, lost his job, so forth and so forth. Basically, no longer could work for Sony, no longer could work for Warner Brothers Animation, so forth and so forth. Meanwhile, this Chris guy's like, "Oh, he's in a bad place. Oh, okay,
right.
Don't forgive him." But that Vic guy, fuck that.
Yeah, it's a weird thing.
No.
And then you have people like Andy Cooley popping off on Stan Dolan on Twitter for literally no reason. It makes me wonder because we're getting close. We're getting close to the appeals decision coming out, and we have a lot of fuckery. We have a lot of fuckery going on social media. Like we've only see the circus pop up when there's something big going to drop.
Right.
And there's one side seems to be really, really active about it. And that other that side also seems to have no qualms with sharing privileged information that they probably shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Right.
So when we look at this stuff, and like I see people like Andy popping off, and he's and I said this on Twitter, he's virtue signaling so fucking hard the Mars rover's picking it up. Like it is to the point where it's undeniable that they have some sort of guilty conscience about something, and they know it's coming out because they see them turning on initiative, Mr. Initiative there. They see them turning on people like Chris and everybody else, and it's just like, because their time is coming.
And the thing is that this is the surface stuff. The thing is that both Crumb and myself, we have a very, very small snapshot of what happens behind closed doors at conventions and how loose things could get and stuff like that. And it's like, come on, you gotta be kidding me. Really? So the thing is that, again, as I said before, the entertainment industry is very sexually charged. Why? Because a lot of actors are trying to make a connection with their co-workers and stuff like that type of thing. And the thing is, this has been around for a very, very long time. But due to new people coming in, they're just shocked and amazed, going, I didn't know about this, blah, 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 blah. And the thing is that one of the few things that I could say with impunity is the following. One, both Crumb and I did our research, came up with nothing. I look at Vic straight in the eyes, asked him a couple of questions. He answered them. I went, all right, this is cool. No problem. That's it. Done. So the rest of this stuff that's going on is just astronomical.
I'm not a private investigator, even though, you know, I could literally pay $15 after I got my security license to be one. Like a certain bald Boba Fett that we deal with all the time. Mr. thinks he's a bounty hunter, but literally we regardless of how much myself or Mr. Hopper, every other member of our team had looked into Vic, there are at this point like tens of thousands of people who have been looking at Vic's situation, who have been combing over his situation on both sides of the fence. Let's not forget. Like, there are people that want to see him put in the ground like 3 years ago. They can't find anything either. So generally, when your opponents are struggling to find information, and like I'm gonna catch criticism for this, but this is something that Giuliani and Trump are guilty of right now, is that they're guilty of talking about a lot of stuff, but not actually bringing up anything to the forefront that proves what they're talking about, because it's a tactic of like, well, you know, I'm hoping that this thing is the case, so I'm just going to keep talking about it as if it's the case without providing any evidence or proof. So I mean, it
worked out for Lemoyne.
It did
for now.
Well, that's the thing. It works. It works. It works in certain situations when you just you filibuster and you fill the air with so much bullshit that everyone starts choking, and just people just stop caring. They just stop caring, and it works in one direction, not the other. So when you're defending yourself from something, if you can keep shit spraying and deflecting and everything else like that, then 100%, 100%, you will get people desensitized to it. It happens in Canadian politics all the fucking time. Like when I laugh and I talk about this, because like I know Americans really aren't used to this, but Canadians, we spent the last 30 years with this nonsense. You could literally have the sitting prime minister shoot a baby on Canada Day on fucking national television, and they could find a way to filibuster out of it, because it's 3 years till the election. They can just cover it up with shit, and it's a bunch of shit spraying that people, like, they're outraged at the time, but when it comes to actually do something about it, people completely forget about it because there's layers and layers of crap over top of it that it's just not relevant anymore.
Well, I'll put it like this: my girlfriend is almost a private investigator. Like, if there was any dirt on anything, she'd find it. She met Vic at Bubba Fest. She's right here. You want to come say hi for a second? She's actually going to be a character in the book too, because had to leave a couple of slots open for the girlfriend. This is Jen. She probably won't be able to hear her,
Hello.
but that's okay.
Hello, Jen.
She can say hi.
Hi.
Pleasure, Jen.
So she, I kind of talked to her a little bit about the situation with Vic, and because she's not into anime or anything, she's getting there, but we went to Bubba Fest together, and so that's when I first met Nick and Vic, and so we had a chance to meet and talk with him for a bit, and she's like, he seems like a nice guy, definitely not the kind of guy that would do what they're saying.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
it was a weird situation, because one of the things that I thought about, and this is a funny thing, one of the things that Vic gets slack on the most is his interaction with fans sometimes that they considered inappropriate, right?
Yeah.
Here's one of the things that that I find weird. When you go to Vic's table, Vic's on the other side of the table, right?
Mhm.
You come up, he'll get up and give you a hug if you have some kind of good interaction. If you're like, hey, can I get an autograph, whatever, he typically says hi, he says a few words, he talks with you for a bit. But if you do something like, bring a gift, talk to him about how much he's influenced you, if he could feel that you care about him as much, then he gets up and he says, okay, I'm gonna give this person a hug because I appreciate how much this person cares for me.
Exactly.
But you've got think about this. He's on the other side of the table. If he gets up, you've got a solid 20 seconds, 25 seconds before he gets around that table, because there's other people sitting in chairs next to him, before he gets to you, and he's got his arms open the entire time. So if you didn't know it was coming, or you didn't feel comfortable with it, you could say that.
Literally,
just be like,
use your
hey
words.
bro, not my thing, but we're cool.
I mean,
And he'd be like, no harm, no foul.
exactly. It's not like he Akuma shadow walks across the table and just grabs people.
Right.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not how that works.
But so here's the other thing on the flip side of that. So I actually met Monica Rial before. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
This was
Surprised you escaped the
this was
vortex.
February 2017. I met Katsucon with and we're there because Katsucon's a bigger convention near us, and it was one of those things where Otakon is like one of the biggest conventions on the East Coast here in America.
Yeah.
And they have a booth set up there. So if you get into Otakon, if you're there at Katsu with them, you can actually pick what booth you want right then and there, which gives you like a really good advantage against competition. So I'm there and hanging out, and one of my buddies is like, hey, I'm doing this meet and greet with Monica Rial. You want to come? I'm like, who's that? Because I really didn't know like VAs like that. And so he's like, oh,
Don't you know who my fucking fiance is?
Right. He was there. All right, let's really talk about this. So he's like, oh, I'm gonna do this meet and greet with her. She does this and this and that. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll come along with you.
Meet MEAT. Meet and greet.
That's exactly.
Bring the chup. You gotta throw it at her so she can eat it.
Right.
So she doesn't eat small.
That's right. And so we get up there, and there's a group of people at this table, and she's there, and I'm kind of in the background because I don't really know her, and I'm not really too bumped. I'm just kind of there killing time while I wait.
Strategy you had there: sacrifice the other people first. Give
Right.
it space.
I saw the horse teeth, and we're like, oh shit! Like,
feed the Titan. Feed the
that's
Titan.
right. That's right. Put the weak ones in the front. I only have to be faster than the weakest person.
Come all in the front, the buffering.
Exactly. So anyways, so she goes up, and they're all like, hi, how's it going? Like really ecstatic to see her, whatever. So she hugs them all, but I'm like in the back, and I don't really know her or whatever. And she just comes up and she's like, hi, and she like gives me this like long hug, and I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. Like didn't think anything of it because I don't really care. But it wasn't like given what they're accusing Vic of and what they're saying bothers them about Vic. Like, Monica didn't ask me for, if I felt comfortable with a hug, or any of the other people there. She just,
you.
right, which is whatever. And then I didn't actually realize.
Fistful of your hair, and she yanked it back, and she said
did.
something sexual into your ear, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a patch, right? There's a bald spot right there.
The bald spot. That's where
but
she
it
ripped
was
your
like-
hair out by the root.
That's right. That's,
This is the place for
no,
hugs.
it's just with the horse teeth. She was just like kind of gnawing in here. I was like looking the other way. I didn't realize what was happening, and I'm like, wait, what? Like a typical horse.
And it hasn't grown back properly since.
No, not at all.
Well, in Canada, we had the RCMP warn people to not let moose lick their windows on their
Right.
cars. I guess we have to like warn people not to let Monica lick the back.
Wear
of her
hats
head.
around Monica.
Wear hats around Monica. Don't let her lick the back of your head.
That's right. Hoodies up inside.
Hoodie up.
But it was funny because I like my friend Kevin actually knew her. Like he does he has a actual channel on TV here, like a local TV station.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so he knew her previously. So I was like, okay, she's hugging him because she knows him or whatever. And all, but then she, came and hugged me, whatever. And I was talking to him about it because he's very much of the opinion that this is all BS with Vic as well. And I was like, you remember when you had me meet her that time? She gave me a hug and didn't ask her permission. And she's like, yeah, I remember that. And I was like, yeah, it was weird. And he was like, yeah, Ron was there in the back corner. And I was like, shut the fuck up, really? And he's like, yeah. And he has a picture of it.
Oh my god!
We're in this big room. There's a big room, and there's these 5 tables set up for VAs to do meet and greets. And so there's these different VAs at the table, and the seats for the people that have come to see him. And there's Ron in the back corner.
I was going to make a joke about that. In all honesty, I'm going to say,
right.
Ron in the corner.
I didn't know because I didn't know who he was. I didn't know any of these people. And he's like, yeah, Ron was there. And he's like, shows me a picture, and I'm like.
That is the creepiest.
Everybody put Toye in the corner.
Right. And it was just so funny because I'm like, dude, you understand this has been the running joke for almost a year now. Because at this point, like when I talked to him, I was like,
oh my God,
you have physical evidence. Like this needs to be known.
Yeah.
And so I just think it was really hypocritical the way that, what I mean? And honestly, I don't give a shit, hug is a hug, whatever. Not a big deal. But like just when you compare it to what they're accusing Vic of and what they're even saying about, oh, I don't feel comfortable with hugs. Well, like, all the people in that industry would just give you a hug without asking or without anything. And it's just weird, really hypocritical that it's singled to one person.
The biggest thing from all of that, what my walk away is that usually when it was a campaign to get somebody, there's usually money involved in hired guns.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They have their own base they could pull from, and that base pulls other people in. So basically what you got going on is free labor to try to burn someone's reputation down on the ground.
Exactly.
Right.
Astronomical. Because the biggest thing is that when those people start to chit-chatting because they're all fucking hamster brain and orientation stuff, blah blah blah, it's gonna be like, okay, we went through your social profile and we saw this, nothing there. About Chris, we saw when Mr. Initiative got involved, we saw nothing about that as well. Basically your deposition you're currently lying on is completely false, and the thing is that you have a problem with Vic, and that's exactly what this is all about. And the reason why you have that is because you got your white armor, fedora tipping, red Superman cape on, and you're there trying to defend all the women. And it's like,
you see the problem with ceremonial and like parade armor is that it can't take a fucking strike.
No,
like it's built to look shiny. It's built to look nice.
Looks nice.
The second it comes up against anything, it crumples like a tin fucking can. And this is what we're running into with these individuals here. Like, this is why Mr. Initiative will soon be finding his world burning down around him, because there are people out there that, unlike people on the more rational people on the side of Vic, we'll just laugh at him and say, "Aha, serves you right." You're going to have individuals on both sides that start contacting his job, start contacting his investors, start contacting his clients, and pointing all this stuff out. And you have him fully admitting on social media that he's done this. He's been inappropriate, etc., etc. So he's going to see the full extent of his own cancel culture and the stuff that he's built and endorsed.
Yeah, he's going to need to.
And I don't. I'm not going to tell anybody to do it. I don't just leave him alone. Just point and laugh and then move on with your life. Because honestly,
but the internet finds a way. It always does.
The internet does find a way.
Absolutely.
It's like this is what they build towards. So
I will give you one funny story. Well, one fun story that you can talk
Alright.
to Vic about. You
Perfect.
can ask him. So, Vic actually grew up near me, like around 50 miles away from where I'm at.
All right.
He was a cop in Ocean City for a while. That was the place I had my
Yes.
first legal beer as a 21-year-old. It was funny. I'm at Otakon and I'm like, yeah, I had my first legal beer in Ocean City. He's like, first legal beer? I'm like, yes. I said what I said. And I was like, yeah, I had it over at Cork Bar in Ocean City. And he's like, I know that. And his mom's there. And so I got to meet her. And she's like, yeah, his first beer was at Cork Bar. And they're talking about it. I went, one of the 2 days that I took off in September was because my girlfriend got us a trip, a camping trip to the beach. About 5 miles from Ocean City, there's an island called Assateague Island.
Okay.
And it's right around where Vic kind of grew up at. And the cool thing about this island is it's right off of the Atlantic Ocean. You can camp right on the beach, right on the ocean.
Oh,
And the other cool thing about this island is there's wild horses
very cool.
everywhere. So it was funny because I remember when Vic was on there, I was like trying to message. I was like, yeah, I just came from Assateague, cool stories, because I'm sure he has like a ton of crazy stories from that island, because it's really, really fun. You get to see wild horses everywhere.
Or you could just go to one of the conventions that Monica's at and you'll see a wild horse right there.
I
too.
mean, that's true. That is very true.
Wild horse right up and probably get an autograph too.
The singular vortex of the black hole consuming everything.
What was that?
Path.
She like
Not
anamorphs from the
that.
horse into like a person, just like signs the autograph and then
Very
anamorphs back.
Time. This is why Ron's in the corner, basically swinging around some black magic to make sure that things look normal.
Does that make Ron a jockey then?
No, well, he is tiny enough to be one, I guess. Right? He looks sort of skinny.
What was that? Was
A
it
little manlet.
He's manlet enough. Yeah.
He's a manlet, not a jockey.
Yeah. Well, those guys
Oh
are
my
like
goodness.
4 foot and nothing and like 57 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah, we all seen
That's about Ron for you.
And I'm pretty sure that they have bigger balls than Ron Toy does as well.
Definitely. Well, we don't know. Monica has them.
That's true.
She's currently
True.
gnawing on them when she's not eating other people's hair.
That's the salt lick right there for you.
Oh, good Christ, why?
Well, we're gonna keep this episode nice and digestible so people can actually
There you
watch
go.
it and see all the wonderful information about your comic books here.
Thank
So
you.
where can people find you?
Oh man. Well, now that I've doxed myself, no, I'm just kidding.
Doxed.
I will be in your front door later on.
That's right. That's right. If I'm not a good character, I'm coming to your front doorstep. That's right. So you can find me. You can find me on Twitter at Phoenix Animation. You can also find me on Facebook, Phoenix Animation as well. Also, I'll be getting back into YouTube more.
Yes.
Basically, me and Jen are moving. Actually, Wednesday is when she closes on the house. So we'll be spending the next week and a half actually moving. But then after that, when the computer's back and set up and everything, I'll be getting back into YouTube more.
Perfect. Good. I think that'd be really good. You just getting out there, getting your base engaged.
Yep.
And that
Yep.
stuff. We have the links to both of your projects in the description below here. So
Awesome.
everybody, if you have not already, like honestly, even if you don't want a physical book, this is only $10. Like you can't, honestly, you can't make an excuse as to why you can't back this. Everybody should open their pocketbooks, go out and get a copy of Galden. It's the first in the series of what could be 7 books, 100-page book in this one. It's an incredible deal. Y'all should do this.
And it will be perfect bound. It will be perfect bound.
Are you talking about square bound or
Incredible.
perfect bound?
Hmm?
Are you talking about square bound or perfect bound?
Perfect bound. It will be
Perfect.
perfect bound.
Awesome,
And then
awesome.
if
And
I
so-
can get enough funding, I'll make it really hardcover. I like I said, I took a lot of inspiration from what.
We'll have as
You
Doug
heard
said,
it.
have it as a stretch goal. So the thing is that
Yeah.
you got this.
Yep.
Plus, on top of that, like that as well, is that when I first heard about this campaign, I really didn't know a lot about it. But however, this book is cheaper than buying a mainstream DC or Marvel comic. It's 100 pages for $20. I highly recommend get the actual physical prints because I'm not a big component
Yes.
of virtual print.
Yes.
Plus, top of that, if you ever meet Brandon, right?
Yes.
If you ever meet Brandon, I'm pretty sure he'll sign it for you, become the instant collector's items.
Actually, all of these books are autographed.
Oh, that's
Amazing.
awesome.
Yes, so you get
it's
an
a free
autographed copy.
autograph with no extra cost, and Brandon just keeps making this deal better and better. I'm pretty sure if you buy the physical copy, he'll come to your house and clean your room and stuff like
That's
that.
right.
Because
I
he's
will
only
wash your car.
Because he's only working 7 days a week, and he's got the
Right.
extra time
That's
to
right.
play with. So yes,
both
I will find a way.
check out and back both Galden and Reclaiming Zandera. The links are in the description below. Amazing deal from an amazing creator. Definitely get out there, support it. You guys heard it from Doug straight up. Like he thinks these are great books too. So I think everyone should get on board with this because honestly, this could be the start of something huge, and it should be the start of something huge.
And that's the plan with if once the studio starts getting to work. That's the other cool thing about the studio is that I want to hire obviously talented VAs like Vic, some other VAs that I have in mind. But then I also want to open up the shot to regular people that have always wanted to get into the industry, but because it's so inclusive, they haven't had the chance. So want to be able to provide everything and give back as much as I get.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. We're going to wrap up the show here. If you have any final thoughts, Phoenix Animation.
No, thank you so much, both of you, for having me on. I really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure, and getting the chance to meet Doug was epic, beyond measure. And I hope
that what I recommend is rewatch the broadcast. Take notes that Doug's talking about because, as I said before, he's got the education, he's got the experience, and the thing is,
he's run a couple of really successful, massive campaigns.
Yes,
so.
and in the industry as well, from both the commercial level and independent level. So there's a lot going on with that. So again,
and I hope to actually meet you guys if Kitchener does go down. Like I want to be a vendor there, so I'll definitely put in the application and
awesome.
come up, and I would love to come up and meet you guys for sure.
I think that would be great. I don't think I'm able to work the front desk with all the public relation work to be doing. It's like, where's Ron? Where is Ron? But anyways, what's this here from?
Naren is asking, what if Vic opened a studio? Would you consider having him produce it?
Yes, I'd be open to that. I mean, Vic is somebody that I think that I could trust with this. So yeah, I'd be open to that. Obviously, I wanted to produce everything in house, but he's mentioned some stuff about being able to help out with production and stuff like that. So we'll see. I guess what the future holds. If he does end up opening his own studio, that's definitely I'm open and flexible to.
Yeah, I'm pushing him to do it because honestly,
I mean, he should. If anybody in this industry should, he's got the knowledge, the know-how, and the resources.
Exactly. Mr. Hop, final thought.
Great broadcast. I have no idea why Douglas had to interfere with our broadcast. That guy comes up with just one idea, and everyone goes, "Oh, look, it's Dr. Naples. He's on the Sunday. Isn't this awesome?" I mean, we got people like Brandon, who's putting in the time, and we just got this massive shadow known as Doug Naples. So,
I mean, he is 6'8".
He is. He does have a very large shadow.
I'm 6'4", but like still.
That tallest Jawa, he has to do that.
He has to do that. That would be fucking hilarious.
That would
be amazing.
I just hope he can find the time to do it. So overall thoughts, nothing but positivity. Buy Brandon's book for goodness sakes.
Just buy it. Just spend
$20, 100 pages.
You're gonna spend $10 or $20 on something stupid, so you may as well buy something good.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Stop buying stupid shit. Buy the stuff that matters.
Exactly.
There we go.
Buy 2 of them.
There.
And final thoughts for myself. I know a lot of people are really talking about Kitchener Comic Con. We're really hoping to get KCC off the ground next year. The biggest struggle we're going to have, number one, is if the border is open, which
also
as it stands right now, it's looking like the border is going to be closed until December of next year. So
and,
that is
and on top of that, people's comfortability of actually coming back to larger conventions, that's going to be the major kicker as well. Because the thing is that we've got like sponsorships all over the place. They may be gun shy because again, time has gone by, things change, sensitivity has changed. Like, oh my.
So what we're saying is like we're not going to close the doors forever, so don't worry about that.
Right.
But if the lining doesn't seem right next year, because we're scheduling for May 2021. If the timing isn't right, if the borders aren't open, and if everyone is still too gun shy to go out to large public gatherings, we'll just spend a year to try and build up for a better show for 2022.
But the thing is, we'll do something regardless on the date.
We'll do something.
Yeah,
but
exactly. The question of what that something will
it
look
really like a lot of it is out of our hands because a lot of it comes down to what Toronto is doing, because anyone that's flying in has to go through Toronto. So if Toronto is in a massive lockdown, we don't have control over that. If the borders are still closed to outside citizens, we don't have control over that. So like we're going to try to do what we can. It might be a smaller event. It might be a small like exclusive event for like 30 or 40 people. We don't know. We're going to have to play it by ear.
We'll
But
figure
If
what
I have to canoe you across the Great Lakes, guys, I'll do it. We'll make this happen.
But yeah, so just stay tuned. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. We really do appreciate it. And we're not going anywhere. If we have to do a smaller thing next year, bet we're going to come back roaring the following year. So
yeah, for sure. Because again, the whole landscape has changed like through and throughout. So
if it's going down, I'll definitely be a vendor regardless what's going on.
That's
So
awesome to hear.
you got my support there for sure.
appreciate
Fantastic.
it.
Well, thank you everybody in the chat and anyone that we missed, guys. You are amazing. Thanks to Doug Tenaple for stopping by the show. Thank you, Phoenix Animation, for coming on. It's been a pleasure. Check out Phoenix Animation's projects in the description below, and check him out on Twitter as well. That has been Canuckleheads for this week. And as always, everybody, keep your stick on the ice.
Be kind to each other.
Bye-bye.
Congratulations, and thanks for watching.